Feeding the 4,000. I like to call this, starting with the last story, Jesus going to the Gentiles. He starts like a huge loop. He starts down in Magdala, which is where he fed the 5,000. He walked in the water and they ended up at Capernaum. There he had the discourse about the bread of life. Then he took the disciples and went into the Gentile area of Tyre and Sidon. Now you have to understand, this is the same place where Elijah provided for the widow and her son and raised the son from the dead. Zarephath is right in this area. After he leaves Tyre and Sidon, he goes across the northern part of Upper Galilee and goes down into an area called Decapolis, 10 cities, 10 Gentile cities. He comes up on the Gentile side of the Sea of Galilee. The scripture doesn't say, but I often wondered if he maybe touched base with the man who he had cast out a legion of demons. I like to think that he did. At that point, he feeds the 4,000. Now remember, the man who had been had the legion of demons had been talking it up. These are the same people that told him to leave. Now they crowd around and the big thing is they want to see people healed. They bring people just like the demon-possessed man. Well, then Jesus takes a boat and goes back across the Sea of Galilee and ends up at Magdala, which is the beginning of that entire loop. So it's the loop into Gentile area all the way back, going across and back up at the same place. I don't think Jesus was necessarily thinking about this loop around, but to me, I find it interesting. Well, at that point, Jesus then takes the disciples north, up into Caesarea Philippi. It's interesting, talking about the Gentiles. He's going back into the Gentile area again. It's also, the road that they're taking is called the Damascus Road. If they had gone on, they would have gone all the way to Damascus. Since we're talking about Gentiles, a few years later, there's a young Pharisee walking along this road by the name of Saul. And there Jesus meets him on this very road, as closer to Damascus. But he traveled this road and he became the apostle to the Gentiles. Now, he takes them to a place called Caesarea Philippi. Several things are true of this city. First of all, the River Jordan comes from 3 rivers, but the main source is the river which starts right here in Caesarea Philippi. A huge spring comes right out of the mountain. A cave comes right out. It's a beautiful place. I take people there when I take a Bible-telling trip to Israel. And there's one reason I take them there, other than the fact it's a beautiful area. It is absolutely beautiful. No, I take them there because of the Roman ruins that are there. You see, this spring, this cave where the spring comes out in the city, was dedicated to the Greek god of nature, Pan. And when you see these ruins and all this, you get this, almost this dark sense of paganism that's there. Some of the people that go there just say, I just don't like it here. That's the point. This is where Jesus took his disciples, and it's at this place right here, at the very home of paganism, that he has the great proclamation, you are the Christ, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Right here in the home of paganism, Jesus affronts the enemy. It reminds me when Elijah, facing down the prophets of Baal, took them to Mount Carmel, which was considered the home of Baal. Jesus is doing the same thing right here. What a great story. Come back next week when we continue on with more insights on the story of the week.